Guys, it's Aiden Paladin, Altana Volt. So today we're going to be watching a video from the Young Turks, and to help me, I have Hard Bastard with me.
Yes, I have been just doing a lot of research in regards to feminist ideology, and I think I'm starting to believe it. So, since women are weak, as we learned from VidCon, and they can't handle things like online harassment, I figured that Aiden would need help and would need my help since I am a man, so I'm going to help her with this video.
Right, it's very difficult. I mean, we're pretty much, well, I mean, as Anita told us, we are second-class citizens.
Yes, exactly.
Particularly in the United States, and not in any other, I don't know, region of the world. Certainly not the Islamic world. We're certainly not.
Oh no!
But only here. We're definitely second-class citizens. So yes, thank you for bestowing upon me your masculine
and no, anytime. Thank you for your cooperation. You won't have to do the dishes now.
Oh, goody! All right. So this particular video is about Title IX and Betsy Devos, and I did a stream recently with the Honey Badgers where we talked a little bit about Title IX. I'll put a link in the description for that if you guys are interested. And also, if you don't know the Honey Badgers, absolutely check them out. So let's get into this absolute fucking cancer.
Betsy Devos had a number of sessions with individuals who were either victimized by campus sexual assault or individuals who claimed that they were falsely accused of campus sexual assault. This is all part of her effort to reform Title IX and potentially roll back some of the protections that the Obama administration put in place for students who have been victimized.
The phrasing there I have an issue with. The, quote, rolling back, that's a propaganda phrase, acting as if they're doing something wrong, and acting as if that there's simply nothing wrong with Title IX the way that it is, that if you were to make some changes, you are taking away the rights, the civil rights of people, and that is bullshit.
Well, that is the way they have to phrase all of this crap, because otherwise you would have to accept the truth and reality that there are problems with Title IX. There's massive problems with Title IX, and, you know, they can't accept that because, well, there are so many benefits to women from the way that this system works currently. And the cultural Marxists that believe in this fucking shit, of course they want this in place and they don't want it changed. Because if you believe in this fucking narrative that women are oppressed, and that women are weak and incapable of defending ourselves, and yes, you want fucking Title IX, you want rape to be totally at the word of a woman with no proof required, and we will get into that, because Jesus fucking Christ.
For sexual assault. Now, earlier this week, Devos angered advocates for victims of sexual assault by agreeing to meet with members of men's rights groups, which argue that men accused of sexual assault are treated unfairly by colleges under the...
I do want to point out her tone and even just saying the phrase men's rights group, like it's like with meeting with members of neo-Nazi organization, like fuck off.
They're ISIS.
Yeah, fuck off, Anna. No, you're ISIS, motherfuckers.
Obama administration's Title IX guidance. The National Coalition for Men has a history of intimidating victims by publishing the identities of women they say made false accusations.
Guess what? Here's what happens. When a woman makes a false accusation, the identity of the man she accuses is made public. Not only that, but we have many, many instances of cases where those men's identity, even when they are acquitted, when there is no evidence, and when, in fact, it's even been proven that it was a total false accusation. And that is the rarity, but we'll get into the statistics on that and the term false accusation and the burden of proof. But even when it is 100% proven that the accusation was false, that man is often, for years, if not for the rest of his life, castigated and treated with disdain for even being accused. Basically, you are guilty as soon as the accusation is made, and that is the concern of men's rights advocates, such as myself.
You know, although I can see, I guess I understand the point. Like, that the feminists, the people supporting Title IX are saying, you know, you are bringing in what they consider to be radical misogynist groups, and why didn't these people who were falsely accused, the men's rights groups do represent actual victims who were falsely accused of rape, But I guess their question is, why didn't these victims avail themselves of the resources that the colleges provide for male victims of false accusation? Oh, there's none? Oh, you mean they have no other place to fucking turn than these groups? That is, if I were to accept the narrative, that's unfortunate, but the bottom line is they are representing people who were falsely accused of rape and had their lives ruined.
Which absolutely does happen, and there's several videos I could link, or cases that I could link to. Tilda recently covered one, essentially, where that did happen, where a young woman went into a bathroom and, as was proven through text messaging evidence, was very much willing to get fucking plowed by these two dudes. And then, after the fact, decided that it was rape, all for the purpose of trying to get another guy to feel bad for her so that she could fuck him. She admitted to this, and I think she got, she hasn't even been sentenced yet, but I think that was what was on the table was something like a year. I don't know. See, I don't have the data in front of me, or the information in front of me, but the two guys who were, who she accused, were still in trouble with the university, even because of how Title IX works. They were still in trouble and still potentially going to get, it could have either been that they would have gotten some sort of reprimand, or they would have even potentially been expelled, even though they had been totally recused. So, that's disturbing as
That's
fuck.
awful. Yeah.
But that is the reality, and what you're going to see here, and this is what you always fucking see with these assholes, is that they don't understand, nor do they care about the plight of men who are falsely accused, or women, but I mean, that doesn't happen, I guess. But the fact of the matter is that there is a gender disparity here.
Yeah.
Men get falsely accused of rape. Men are, when you look at the total statistics of rape, men are often also the receivers of rape, particularly when you look at prison statistics.
Yes.
But men are also the only ones who get, pretty much only ones who get falsely accused of rape. Mm-hmm. And it ruins your fucking life. It doesn't matter if you have been exonerated. It does not matter at all. Yeah. The negative effects are permanent. So when these fucking assholes act like it's no big deal, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Now, the other men's rights organization that was there is known as Stop Abusive and Violent Environments, also known as SAVE. And the Southern Poverty Law Center has actually listed them as a misogynistic organization. And
yep.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, much like the Washington Post, I asked the question, when are people going to stop taking them seriously? They have been discredited over and over and over again. They outright lie about people. The Southern Poverty Law Center is not credible at all.
What was the name of that? Stop Violence? Something like that? The name of that organization?
SAVE, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a real terrible hate organization,
right.
Doesn't it? I mean, I'm not even saying that acronyms mean anything, but let's get real. The Southern Poverty Law Center just says anyone who disagrees with their leftist cultural Marxist politics, even on the most basic level, is a hate group. Now, I'm sure that they think all men's rights advocates, and I really would like to see them put the honey badgers on their hate group list, a group of almost entirely women who advocate for men's rights as a hate group, because I'm sure that they are.
Well, I imagine, they have internalized misogyny.
Obviously, that's what, there it is. That's what it's all about. We all just hate ourselves so much. That's why we think men should have equal rights to women.
Honestly, I was really curious to see what kind of interaction that they had and what they shared with Betsy Devos. Refinery 29 actually had a really great piece where they profiled one of the men who claims that he's been falsely accused of sexual assault by his own frat brothers. And so you don't hear about situations like that often, and he's saying, no, I actually don't want you guys to get rid of Title IX or the protections that the Obama administration put in place, but what he does call for is increasing the burden of proof that universities need to have in order to find someone guilty, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's completely logical. Yeah. That is what needs to happen. I'm not necessarily against totally overturning everything that's in Title IX. But the problem is that right now, the way that it is it's totally biased. It is absolutely untenable.
You can't give a group of people a level of power that all they have to do is say something and you automatically must listen and believe because of reasons. That's bullshit.
Yeah, because that's what it is right now. Yeah. There is no... And it only works one direction. You fucking think that right now a guy could go to the
Hell
university
no.
and say, like, my ex-girlfriend abused me.
They would laugh at him.
And they would say, fuck off. Now, I know that they're not supposed to do that. And there's a lot of things, and I talked about this before, but, sometimes when you are a college student, the first person you want to go to about some of these issues, if not to your RA or not to your friends, because your friends might judge you. So you do have an RA, but that's still that constituent. Now, otherwise, it does make sense to go to a professor, and I have had students come to me with things like this. And, but we can't help. We really can't, because of things like, because of some of the laws that are in place. There's not a whole lot, FERPA and Title IX included. There's nothing we can really do to help, although I do understand, but I've seen that happening. And I've seen that happening, though, and it is disturbing. Because I would usually tell students, well, go talk to your teacher, but guess what? We can't fucking do shit. So what you have to do is go talk to a university counselor, and they're going to laugh you out if you're a male and have been abused or raped or anything.
Some of these people fundamentally don't believe that when a man is forced to penetrate, that's actually rape. There have even been, and we're going to get into the statistics, but some of the studies, when they're talking about the rates in which women are raped and men are raped, they don't include when a man is forced to penetrate for some reason. And that completely skews the statistics. So in some of these cases, you might be coming across people, if you are a male rape victim, that they might actually not even think it's possible for you to have been raped unless you're taking it in the ass in some way or method.
Even though, there have been, cases of women giving stimulants to men so that they, like Viagra and shit,
yes,
for that specific purpose, which is absolutely still rape, even if you did penetrate. So that's fucked up. God damn, I'm already pissed off.
Right? Now, keep in mind, the way universities handle it is separate from the way criminal courts handle it, right? So this is really over whether or not, a student should be expelled or reprimanded or face any consequences for alleged sexual assault.
Hear that? Alleged. This is the whole fucking
Yeah.
problem. Right there, alleged sexual assault. Should you get in trouble, should you be expelled from a university where often you have a scholarship, where sometimes you have put in years of work and effort to be expelled, to have your entire persona just totally insulted and degraded because someone made an allegation.
That's ridiculous.
That's absurd. Is there anything else? Is there any other? No, because I'll answer myself. No. If I said, that person stole something from me, can you prove it?
Nope.
No. And then nothing happens. This is the only instance where this is the case, where a mere allegation is proof of guilt in their minds. And the young fucking turds are going to goddamn support that shit. Of course they are.
Of course.
There's a lot more. It's a very complex, twisty-turny story, but I want you guys to jump in.
Okay, so I think I agree with where you're going with it. So if Betsy Devos said, hey, listen, of course we have to take it into account and address sexual assault and rape on college campuses, of course. But some small fraction of cases are false accusations. And I say that because that's a fact. It's about 2 to 10% of accusations.
Wrong.
Yeah, no, we're going to go into this more thoroughly, I think, in the future. I don't know if you want to get into it now, if you think we should. But the fact is, what he's talking about is these are cases that 2 to 10% are proven, 100% proven to be false allegations. This has nothing to do with the vast majority of cases. And I will bring it up right now. It'll be this right here. This is probably a graph that a lot of people have seen passed around on the internet, and this is the Enliven Project, which is complete bullshit. But this is the statistics. These are the statistics that Schenk is referring to, of these 2 falsely accused, and these, what you see up here is it's like 3, 5, 10 jailed, 10 jailed out of this. And look at all these fucking rapists that are getting away with it. But the fact of the matter is, it's quite different from that. Even with the reported, and this is actually a very vastly skewed number of people that, this is just assuming that, 90%, or no, I'm sorry, I think it's 67% of rapes go unreported, which, by the way, I'm sorry. even if that was true, even if it was 67% of rapes are unreported, if you don't report to the fucking police, you have no one to blame but your fucking self. God damn it, that makes me so fucking angry. But in terms of the reported cases, do you see all these that didn't face trial? Well, it's because there probably wasn't any evidence.
Right.
And even the ones that faced trial, these were dismissed because, at large, because there wasn't any evidence. But this guy went through, and this is a blog post that I will link in the description, where he went through and looked at some of the statistics and formed sort of a better model of this. And this includes... So even these rapists here that are like the ones that never get reported, this includes all these unreported rapists, assuming that every woman who says she was raped truly believes it was rape. This is under that assumption, and you still get this kind of a result. First of all, way more jailed than in the pop culture fucking statistics that you've seen reported from the Enliven Project. But this is because this shit gets dropped. Because guess what? In the vast majority of cases, there's no evidence. And here's the problem with living in a free society. You, particularly in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. Not the other way around.
And that's what they want, and that's so fucked up. But they only want that for women.
Yep.
Not the other way around. This is an argument for special treatment. And no one... If someone went up to them and asked them, would they accept these conditions in anything in their life, of course they would say no. They are blatant fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, you'd have to think about this in any other fucking crime. How would this compare to robbery? How would this compare to murder? Because murder is the only crime that I would say, and I do think that rape is absolutely probably beyond murder, the most abhorrent crime that one can commit. So... if you compare this to murder, you would have to be saying that I don't need proof you murdered somebody.
Take them away.
I just said it. and then, I falsely accused you of murder? But what's the fucking difference? Now, I mean, I could bring in making a murder and stuff like that, but, there is a real difference between the long-term cultural and sociological and social outcomes that are a result of being falsely accused of rape than of being falsely accused of murder. Because if you're exonerated of being accused of murder, everyone's like,
Yay,
congratulations,
wonderful.
good. Not if you're falsely accused of rape, no. Because you're still fucking guilty, essentially.
Yeah.
Sorry about that window.
Stigma.
Yeah, there's still that fucking
There's a
stigma.
massive stigma.
That you're still guilty, doesn't matter. It really does not matter. Once the accusation has been made, you're already guilty. And that's the fucking problem. That's why this whole shit needs to be reworked. And it's not just in the universities, but that certainly is the worst, the most cancerous and depraved and fucked up, rotten hellhole of where this social policy could be heading. And if it's not reworked, then, it's going to only get worse in actual criminal cases.
Yeah.
Are false, according to the people who keep stats on it. Okay, so
People who keep stats on it. I got a stats for you. Fucking... Oh, Cenk, where are the stats? The people... Yep, do you know? I like this face.
What a citation. Well, according to the people that can keep track of it.
Where are the stats, Cenk? You fucking idiot.
But it exists, so let me go meet with one of these groups, and then I would pick the group that is the least crazy.
They don't exist, unfortunately.
Well, I hear you.
Oh, men's right groups that aren't crazy don't exist. Thanks, biatch.
No,
Thanks.
fuck you. Seriously, there's no... and I'll say this, as someone who, I consider myself a men's rights advocate, fuck off.
Yeah,
This
fuck you.
is their fucking narrative, too, is to be like, there's the only people who support men's rights. And there are legitimate issues, and if you guys have not watched the documentary, The Red Pill, please go check that out. You can rent it on YouTube for about $4. I highly recommend you watch that documentary. You are doing the exact same shit as the rest of these motherfuckers by pretending that there are no rational, reasonable people who have examined and looked at society and come to the conclusion, as many of us have, that men are massively disadvantaged in multiple places in society because of the legislation that we have pushed through over the last 100 years. After fucking women's suffrage, well, That's not a coincidence. Sorry, I won't get into that bullshit too much, but seriously, that's disgusting that you would act like we're all just crazy MRAs. And it is. It's why you will never see these motherfuckers or anybody like them talk about something like the honey badgers, which, again, is predominantly run and operated by women, because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah, and they also, the techniques that they use is that if anyone disagrees with them, they immediately label them a rape apologist. And so, obviously, if you think someone is an actual rape apologist, you would argue that they are crazy. But this is the angle that they try to approach this with, pretending that everyone that disagrees with them is a rape apologist, and they're all crazy, and all of these men's rights advocates are crazy, and they simply do that on purpose because they want people to not look at the other side of the argument. It's the oldest cult tactic in the book. The oldest tactic of a propagandist. You simply smear the other side as some sort of other, some sort of evil, some sort of apostate. Don't listen to them, and if you listen to them, then you too. Oh, you were talking to a rape apologist? Well, you must be a rape apologist now.
Absolutely, and yeah, it was like this. You come at this from a very real perspective, and I come at it from a very social, psychological perspective. So that is the same thing as in-group, out-group theory, which Thachfeld and Turner. Absolutely, it's the same thing of, you are one of us or you're one of them. You cannot be in between, and you must, as we see with in-group, out-group theory or intergroup theory, you see, like, you have to display your virtue in a way of being like, of showing your badge. And one of the ways that you show your badge is by saying that, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, I know this. Let me tout this, and if you even fucking question it, then you are siding with the out-group, and therefore you have betrayed your in-group status. You become the pariah. You become the apostate. Yeah. That's absolutely the way that this works, and, just from a cult level, but I do think they operate on very much cult mentality.
Absolutely.
But it all goes back to social identity theory, very much, which is disturbing to see the power in some way of, when you study social science theory, it's like, oh, this is interesting, and then you see it manifest itself physically. Yeah. Fucking terrifying.
Well, that's right. But so, I wouldn't pick one that was on the Southern Poverty Law Center's list of groups that are misogynistic.
Who gives a fuck? The Southern Poverty Law Center has zero fucking credibility. Zero. Who gives a fuck what they say?
They really don't. It's astounding anyone pays them any fucking mind.
The one that the National Coalition for Men, their founder, I read a quote from a couple of days ago on the show when she was considering doing these meetings. He said the Ray Rice thing. He's like, I'm not blaming victim.
Or victim blaming.
Victim blaming, but she agitated him, and that's why he hit her. What?
What the fuck does it have to do with anything, though?
Okay, so let's say that's true. That's a fucked up opinion. What does that have to do with the fact that they are representing people that were falsely accused of rape? What does that have to do with the people falsely accused of rape? Nothing. It's completely irrelevant.
They always fucking do this. I told you this the other day, that they go on these word salad fucking tangents. And this is not the first time. This is the same fucking shit that Cenk will do anytime there's, for example, a terrorist attack in Europe. You'd be like, but IRA. The IRA did terrorist attacks, so that makes it... Let me just go on a totally tangential and unrelated nonsense spiel that has nothing to do with what the fuck the topic at hand is. And that's all because they have no argument. And when you have no argument, what can you do other than bring up some actually fucked up situation that is... I wouldn't even say tangentially related. That is tertiarily... related, I guess, in some really bizarre fashion, because they have fucking nothing. They're complete idiots. God, it fucking pisses me off.
If you saw that tape, I mean...
Yes, he was an asshole. He's a piece of shit.
Less, and she did, what do you mean agitated him? It's clear victim blaming. These are bad guys that she's meeting with.
Wow,
this isn't...
bad. What an asshole.
Do you see how he just conflated two absolutely different topics?
And applied it to all the groups.
Yes. He just conflated two completely different topics. This is...
It's disgusting.
Oh my god. This is absolute priming, though. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is priming. So he gave you the Ray Rice situation. And then he talked about the men's rights groups. Then he talked about Ray Rice. Then he went back into the men's rights groups. That's priming. He's trying to create a cognitive heuristic in your mind so that when you think about men's rights groups, you will automatically associate them with Ray Rays.
Incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
That is a psychological tactic that the media uses that is abhorrent.
Yep. That is disgusting. What a fucking disgusting
No,
thing to say.
that's evil, almost. Like, because I guarantee this motherfucker with his law degree knows exactly what the fuck he is doing by creating that heuristic association. That, they support the beating of women.
Right. Yeah,
Where was the evidence of that?
Yeah,
Where was the
there's no
evidence of that?
yeah.
None. I just put those two topics together.
Incredible.
That's how priming works.
If you wanted to actually address the issue and you did it in proportion to the scope of the problem, okay, all right, that makes sense. I don't want guys to be falsely accused of rape.
Yeah,
That's right.
look.
But we're not doing it in proportion here, and the people you're meeting with are terrible guys.
Yeah, look, the sense...
Evidence?
Yeah,
Other than the fucking
citation, please.
Southern Poverty Law Center, who says everyone is a racist, anti-Semite, sexist. I mean, I guarantee that the Southern Poverty Law Center thinks both of us we absolutely would
course.
be Nazis.
Oh, I've been called a fringe racist.
I know. Congratulations.
The other thing, just looking at the graphic, Title IX, like basically alluding to that she's a Nazi and that Trump's a Nazi. These people are despicable.
I always hate their fucking. I'll just say their faggy little fucking puns that they make.
Yeah,
they always
it's
make me
awful.
sick.
Yeah.
Whoever writes these, get a new writer.
Yeah,
They're
it sucks.
cringeworthy. Jesus Christ.
Terrible.
that I got from the way that this all went down is that, her assumption or her perspective of this is that sexual assault victims are 50% and, falsely accused are 50%.
No. This is called getting both voices heard.
Exactly.
This is not 50-50. You are totally misrepresenting why you would want to hear both sides of a fucking argument. It doesn't mean that one side is as equal as the other in terms of, like, how a crime is committed.
She didn't even say that.
You're just totally... This is disgusting.
Yeah.
See, this is another tactic they use, where it's trying to reframe the entire position of, so you're saying that there's just as many false accusations as there are actual rape accusations, and that's so wrong. Which, by the way, I think she might be almost right on that, if not underrepresenting the number of false accusations.
Yeah.
But hey, we don't have the data on that, so...
Treat it like such, and I'll have my session with the sexual assault victims and then those who are falsely accused. But the reality is, look, no one wants anyone to be falsely accused, right? And
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I think you absolutely do. I absolutely think that you do want people to be falsely accused. Because why not?
You clearly don't give a
downfall?
fuck about it if they are, so, I don't know how you can argue this.
What is the... Right now we've seen, what is the backlash? What are the negatives for a young woman who accuses a man of sexually assaulting or raping her on a college campus? None. Pretty much. Even in that case that I brought up, where the woman, she outright admitted, yeah, I made it up because I wanted some dude to fuck me.
Yeah.
She's gonna get nothing. If she gets anything at all. Because it's been moved to a new judge. So if she gets anything at all, well... Even then, it's not going to be a fraction of the amount of time or the amount of stigma that would have happened to those two men who she did have consensual sex with. Yeah, I think you want this. Absolutely you do. Because this is absolutely, as a woman, like, here's the thing. People seek power. I mean, not all, but it's Machiavellianism, right? Of you want to seek out the, maximization of your own power and potential in that way. And that's only logical. So no shit if you've got a fucking system in place that says women... are infallible.
Yeah.
You can throw accusations at the fucking wall until you pass out from exasperation. Doesn't matter because you're always right. Why would any woman who is a Machiavellian, narcissistic piece of shit
clearly thinks she's better than us,
much better than us, to want that overturned? Well, gee, that's a fucking toughie, isn't it?
it's counterproductive and devastating for everyone, right? But at the
No, it isn't. Get the fuck out of here.
you tackle a problem that continues, you know, to grow on college campuses, and that is administrators kind of brushing these things under the rug.
No, that is the opposite of what is happening. this shit is getting pushed forward again and again and again. And the fact that they are doing this shit after the Rolling Stone case
Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous.
is unbelievable. Now, if you guys don't remember, the Rolling Stone case was basically like a reporter for Rolling Stone said that there was this enormous, like, gang rape that happened to this young girl at a fraternity. And it was completely manufactured. It didn't matter, though, because that fraternity has been forever admonished. That fraternity has lost a lot of credibility and basically been forever, destroyed. And even though I think they're going to sue the Rolling Stone, if they're not, I think they are currently suing them. It doesn't matter. Their reputation has been decimated. You don't give a fuck about anybody in these situations. And this is the disgusting bit, because the way that this shit works right now is that if you are a woman on a college campus and you fuck a dude when you're drunk, and then the next day you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I fucked that guy. You can just go to a counselor or any person at the university and say, oh my god, I got totally raped. And that guy is gonna probably be removed from campus. So guess what? You will face no repudiation for your behavior. And by the way, like, it is 2017, it is current year and most people don't give a shit how much of a giant, like, gaping cunt you are. But still there is some, like, oh, I can't believe you fucked that guy. I do get that. But it doesn't mean, here's the problem. We're talking about social degradation of your reputation. A little bit. Not even much in current year of being like, oh yeah, I fucked a guy. And it was like a one-night stand. Versus destroying someone's life. Potentially forever. And feminists like Anna Kasparian, this fucking shit-sniffing cunt, would rather it be the case where you can just make an accusation like that because you feel bad.
Yeah, they just view it as
pretty much,
damage.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty much. I mean, like, oh, it happens every once in a while. That's okay.
That's okay.
If it happens. Oh, God. Dude, this makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Rug and not dealing with them. And by the way, universities are not courts. They're not looking for criminality or to convict someone.
No shit. That's why you can make an argument that the fucking police should handle this shit and the schools should stay the fuck out of it.
Exactly. This is the problem with Title IX, is the fact that the schools are acting like criminal courts. And she's about to say it, we'll get into that, I guess, but, like, this is not the purpose of the school. If you really have a case where you believe a sexual assault fucking happened, guess what should happen first? The criminal case. And then once the criminal case has been resolved, then the school can make a decision or a ruling on it. The problem is that the way that Title IX works right now is that the school gets to make a preemptive decision of, oh, a claim was made? Get the fuck out of here, you rapist.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Doesn't matter if you have no fucking evidence. Doesn't matter if it's an event that happened 6 months ago that you just retroactively changed your mind with, oh, well, I didn't really agree with that. Fuck off.
Criminal court system to decide. When it comes to universities, they have to decide whether or not it makes sense to move someone into a different dorm or expel someone. And
I don't know exactly how normal schools work. I went to a Catholic school. This is the only time I ever lived in a dorm. Those dorms were all segregated by gender, at least on the floor. So, like, men had one floor, women had another floor. I don't really get this. But
I love how she throws in something completely minor, like moving your dorm in with expulsion, which would be a devastating life consequence.
Right, and I guess, like, yeah, it's a thing. You know what? Okay, I would agree with that. If you have a serious accusation that this guy raped me, moving dorms across campus is really not a huge deal. Now, if it's a false allegation, it still sucks. But that I wouldn't be against. Because it's that should probably be, you know what, that should be like what the university should do. That should be the maximum of what they should do without the police confirming something. Outside of that, yeah, I get it. If you're in the same class, maybe even that I don't necessarily agree with, because transferring classes can be detrimental to the students. But and again, this only works one direction in both ways.
Absolutely.
Pretty much. Now, I'm not saying that, I mean, no, male-on-male rape happens in college campuses.
Of course.
It does happen on rare occasions. It does that there is female-on-male rape on college campuses. But because of the statistical proclivity, that it does tend to be male on female, and that's just, I have to admit that, that's true. So if you want to, like, say, maybe they should move dorms, maybe they should move class, or switch to a different section of a class, that kind of stuff would make sense to me. Expulsion is a totally different fucking ballgame.
The vast majority of cases, according to the data, the sexual assault, the person who's accused of sexual assault doesn't get expelled, does not get moved to a different dorm.
No, that's totally wrong. We've seen this so many fucking times.
And if you are talking about data, it is on you as the news outlet to put the fucking data in the goddamn description.
Which it's fucking not. Of course it's not. Oh, do you see any? No, because there
No.
never is. It's
Oh,
the
a
Young
BuzzFeed
Turks.
article.
Oh boy, oh whoa. Oh, well, now we know it's legitimate. Here's the fucking thing. If you're gonna make a claim like that, and I will find one.
Okay.
I don't have one right now, though, guys. But I will be. I am, like, seriously. If you think that universities don't go after this shit hard as fuck, you are living in a fantasy land. We have seen this time and time again over the last couple of years. And if you think this is good for universities to enforce this type of social justice rigmarole bullshit, look at Mizzou, which has had their enrollment down by, what, 33%? Something to that sort of level.
Yeah.
They've had to close down dorms. They can't get students to go there anymore because of your fucking bullshit. Nobody wants to deal with this. They know that when they go to a university that supports this kind of garbage, they're not going to have a good time.
Nope.
It's not going to be educational, and it's not going to be egalitarian.
I get asked to take like a counseling class.
Oh,
Shit.
yeah,
Fuck
that's
you.
all. Oh, yeah, point out where that fucking happens.
Jesus
Point out where that fucking happens and not straight expulsion. Because what we see, Anna, is expulsion, castigation, and social, just complete degradation and shaming. That's what it
incredible.
is, you fucking cunt.
I thought it was super interesting. We don't have a graphic for it, but
Sure you don't.
The Washington Post looked at data.
Yeah. Well, we can't. I mean, we can't prove it, but like, listen, dude. Like, look, Washington Post, which is a really legit news outlet at this point, totally like had a fucking infographic that like really explained this.
That's her argument. That's the argument. Oh my god.
That's unbelievable.
And what they found was that very often, or more than often, they are not expelled from universities. Very often.
She's talking, by the way, of people who are alleged.
Right.
She's not talking about people who are proven in a
Exactly.
criminal court case. These are alleged. Let me tell you guys a little story. I'm going to share some shit from high school. I knew a girl. I'm not going to say her first name, obviously. Let's say her last name was Wang, because it sure was. And she had a pair of booty shorts that she would wear around high school that just had the word Wang written across the back of them. Needless to say, what should I call her? What should her first name be?
Vera?
Vera Wang was a giant fucking slut. We should say that she had a cunt the size of the Harlem Tunnel. So she was an enormous slut. She, at one point, decided that she wanted to fuck this one guy in my high school who was, like, the hot jock guy. So what she did is they had a party over at her house, and she intentionally got him drunk and raped him, is what I would call it, is rape. Because he had been involved with a girl who was very nice and sweet, and they've been married now for 7 years. But, so there is a happy ending to the story.
That's nice.
Way more than 7 now, Jesus. But she raped him, essentially, and then decided to use that as a platform to, afterwards, shame the entire school about him, about why won't he date me? He raped me. He had sex with me. She raped him. Like, it was unbelievable. And that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about that's allowed to just be gotten away with. Women aren't held accountable for this shit. Do you think she ever caught any crap for raping him? Because that's what it was. It was rape. Because she was sober. And he was not. And I don't always agree with this whole, like, oh, she was drunk, he was drunk thing.
Yeah.
If your intentional purpose, and in that case it was, her intention was to fuck him so that she could get him and get him to break up with his girlfriend, who he had been dating for 2 years, or something like that. And again, yes, happy, they're married, they have children now. It's astounding. Not many high school relationships end up like that. But
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, she really fucking tried.
Yeah.
She really fucking tried. Vera Wang.
Vera Wang.
You tried, it didn't work out. But there are women like that who know they can game the system. And I'm talking about, this is 2010. No, excuse me. This is 2006, motherfuckers. This is not current year. And that was the case in 2006.
I figured Vera was safer than like going like Ching Chang, like Ching Chang Wang. I don't think that would have gone over well.
Now my fucking channel's gonna get deleted, dude. Thanks.
They are told to take these counseling classes. But yeah, they're like, what these groups want, the men's activist groups, is they want it to
Equal rights for
Yeah,
men.
that's it.
That's what we want. I'll cut you off there, Anna. We want equal rights for men, because guess what? At this point in time, women have a lot of advantages. And you know what? Here's the thing. When you are the one in power, as women are in this country in terms of our social status, we really are.
Oh.
No fucking shit you want to preserve that social status.
Absolutely.
And not, and pretend like, oh, man, you're so fucking evil, dude.
Yeah.
You're fucking raping me
I
right now
know,
by your
I know.
presence.
I'm oppressing you. How many times have I oppressed you today? Jesus Christ.
That's not good.
the same burden of proof necessary in criminal court. So guilty.
Yes!
Yeah.
Holy
There's
shit,
nothing
yes!
wrong with that, you fucking lunatic!
Holy fucking shit. Yes, guess what? If you're going to make major decisions about somebody's life, aka expelling them from a goddamn
shit.
institution that many times they have put in years of money, and I mean tens of thousands of dollars into,
Yeah.
and you don't understand why you might want to be held by the same fucking standards as a criminal court, go fuck yourself, Anna.
That's outrageous.
Jesus fucking Christ.
out. And so the universities are actually saying that makes our job impossible because we
Then defer to the police.
Exactly.
If you think it's impossible, defer to the police.
Exactly.
Because what we found, and this is the terrifying bit, is that even when the police vindicate the dude, they still fucking persecute them and expel them. Because, oh, we don't want to be looked at. Well, he might have been, maybe in an alternate reality, he might have raped her, even though the police said he totally didn't.
It's amazing that these lunatics are arguing to our face to basically not have to prove your allegations against another person. That's outrageous.
No, this is 100% guilty until proven innocent.
Fuck that.
This is terrifying. This is absolutely horrific.
can't prove that.
And it's already tough to prove in criminal cases, right? Which also we also need to revise how we conceptualize burden of proof for criminal cases.
No! Fuck you! What are you talking about? You are a lunatic!
Let me
What
get
kind
real
of
fucking
society do you want here? You want, this crazy ass bitch wants a society where a woman can sit there on her throne and say, that one right there, you take him away. Take him away. Take him away. That's what that leads to. You are out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah, pretty much. Because what would you want then? Here's the thing. Now, I admit, I will be totally honest, it is difficult to prove rape
Yeah.
a week after it happens.
Yeah.
So here's what you do, and I would tell all women that this, and this is very important, I do agree with this, that this is something that needs to be taught, at least in terms of young people who go to college. This is something they should know.
Sure.
If you truly feel that you were sexually assaulted, if you go to the police, they can perform something called a rape kit, and that will show that there has been involuntary penetration.
Yes.
Okay? That proves without any measure of a doubt that you were raped. Now, if you decide 6 months after the fact, like, oh my god, I can't believe I dated that guy.
Yeah.
Wow, like, it was totally rape. No! Go fucking jump off a bridge,
Yes.
you bint. That's not rape. We don't need to redefine this shit. I admit, yes, rape is difficult to prove for a number of reasons. In part because they've expanded the definition of rape. And I don't believe that two people fucking and then regretting it the next day is rape. That's called being a teenager.
And you know
I
what's-
really do think that's what it is.
You know-
It's like, it's just adolescent stupidity.
the saddest part of all these segments and speeches of all this bullshit is they're ignoring the fact that there are a lot of cities in America where there's lots of rape kits that are unprocessed, that
Yep.
have not like focus on that. That's
Yes,
an actual
thank you.
problem when it comes to rape. This is fucking bullshit.
This is bullshit, and we'll get into that actually college students are far less likely to be raped than non-college students. Mm-hmm. So get the fuck over that. The fact of the matter is that college campuses in the United States are incredibly safe on many, many levels.
Yeah.
Pretty much any college campus, and I actually believe that it's the law now, has to have these emergency stations. And I know that even my undergrad institution had them. That would have been back in 2008, 2009, where it's like you just show, it's essentially like a police call box where you go up and you smash your button and you go like, help, help, I'm being assaulted.
Right.
And that's all it is. They exist all over the campus. They're brightly lit. They've got cameras on them. This is all to prevent this shit. They have done so much to prevent assaults and rape on college campuses. They are, without question, probably the safest place as a woman that you can be in the entire country. That does not include you going to a fucking frat party and getting blasted out of your mind, fucking some dudes, and then feeling bad about it the next day. The impetus of that is on you, honey. Jesus fuck. And I say that, like, I never did that. It's never been my fucking lane, right?
Yeah, but to each his own, you know.
Right, but, like, I've been around those people. You do you. Just get over it. Accept responsibility for your own fucking behavior.
Yeah.
Think back to that earlier point about this conversation. You can't center men in a conversation when men are the primary perpetrators of...
I love the propaganda techniques and the propaganda phrase she uses. That simple situation where someone is arguing for both sides to be heard. That no, that's centering men. It's centering someone. It is not centering men. That's bullshit. It is simply pointing out that there is a problem with Title IX. And there is a problem with people being accused falsely of rape. That's not centering men. That nice try, that's bullshit.
Nope, it certainly doesn't. And you know who's always centered in this fucking debate? Women.
Yes.
So fuck off. If you, like, the thing is, they don't even want men's rights to be brought up. They basically called it, it's a terror. It's terrorist to bring up men's rights.
Yeah.
So, it's not centering men as much as it is bringing up men, mentioning them, mentioning their rights. That alone is haram in this bullshit.
Yeah, they do that all the time, though. Like, if someone disagrees, they'll be like, well, wait, you're centering yourself. Oh, and you're white? You white people are always trying to center themselves.
Yeah, you should really just kill yourself, honestly, for being white. Just, put on your itchy robe
put your
and
head
flagellate
down, right?
yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what you should be doing. We should all be.
Of sexual assault on campus. And I think also... you can have multiple conversations about sexual assault. Two things can be true. There can be false accusations, and there can be real sexual assault.
No one's arguing the other.
Right. There's nobody saying that sexual assault isn't real.
Exactly.
The problem is the statistics are flawed, and that false accusations are not treated like real crimes.
Right.
A false accusation is a fucking crime. That is a crime, motherfuckers.
You'll probably get more jail time for, like, prank calling 911 too many times than with a false rape allegation.
Not sure about that. I saw an article from Canada where some I think she was from some, I don't remember the exact country, but she was a refugee in Canada who had called 911 in Canada like 100 times and saying that she wanted to join ISIS. And they gave, and she was like a 9-year-old girl, and they gave her like 3 months of community service, or like they made her go to like lessons for a couple months. It's like, maybe you should remove her from that family, because gee, I wonder where that rhetoric's coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, calling 911 doesn't get you to put in fake calls, doesn't get you very much, at least in Canada in comparison.
And then to frame these victims as equal to other victims of sexual assault, I think is...
Hold the fuck up. A person... They're both victims. If they are absolutely equal because they're human beings. If they're both victims, they're equal. You're out of your goddamn mind.
And they always want to play this of like trying to. Oh my god! Look at the fucking marathon of smugness.
Oh yes.
That is just occurring here on the screen. Like just it's a pantheon. Like just
the arbiters of truth.
But the problem is. Like, I get this. Oh, rape is like the worst thing that can happen to you.
Sure.
And I've heard people say that rape is worse than being murdered, because if you're murdered, you don't have to deal with it. I find that to be a very disturbing statement.
I'll reject that.
But, okay, rape's pretty much the worst thing that can happen to you besides being murdered. I would say that's a little bit more honest. Well, I don't know. If you get your arm blown off,
yeah,
that's
I mean, there's
pretty
a lot of things that can
shitty
happen
stuff can happen to you. But guess what? What are things that happen in association with rape? There's a social stigma to it. that you're gonna have to think about that every fucking day.
Yeah.
You have to think about that shit every and I have so much fucking sympathy for rape victims, absolutely. Male and female, anyone who's been raped. It's a terrible, terrible, horrible thing. I cannot imagine how awful that would be. But can you try to empathize with the people who have been falsely accused? Because they're going to lose their entire social circle. They're going to have to live with that their entire fucking lives, just as you will. They're probably going to have to think about that every day because it's going to become inexorably a part of their life.
And it's outrageous that they force us to even have to break down the differences because she's not even willing to consider the other people victims, and that's bullshit. And they force you to put both victimhoods on the table and then dissect it. Like, which one's worse? That's fucking ridiculous.
No, that's
they're both
stupid.
bad. One may be worse than the other, but they're both bad, and they're both worthy of having their voice heard.
They're both victims. This is such a liberal fucking thing of trying to, like, quantify pain.
Sick.
It's so stupid.
So
Look,
sick.
like, pain is pain. Fucked up shit that happens to somebody is fucked up. Why do you have to try and put it on a fucking progressive stack?
Yeah, that's outrageous.
Just admit, fucked up shit's fucked up. Stop trying to quantify it. And I'm a fucking social scientist, and I'm a quantitative social scientist, so I want everything to be put down into numbers. But in terms of somebody suffering, guess what? That's qualitative. You can never measure suffering. You fucking idiots.
Yep.
God damn it.
So, look, it's a tough balancing act for universities, and if I was running the Department of Education, I would think, look, how do I make sure that universities don't brush this under the rug, and they have an incentive to, because what they don't want
Bullshit.
universities to get a bad name, and if there's a lot of sexual assaults reported at a university, then they get a bad name and less people.
Nope.
Before Title IX, you could argue that. But the problem with Title IX, good pause, the problem with Title IX is it made it too much in the other direction, and now it's fucking out of control. You have to bring it back in and have a balance.
It's always a balancing act on this kind of thing. You have to be fair and as impartial as possible. The problem is that people like these motherfuckers at the Young Turks, they don't want impartiality. They don't want nonpartisan, non-biased judges to rule over this shit. They want women to be right and men to be wrong. They won't say that outright, but it is absolutely what the fuck they mean, and it's fucking repugnant.
And it affects their funding and all that stuff. So I've got to stop that problem, because if someone is sexually assaulted on a college campus, we have to take it enormously seriously and make sure we get justice for that, and make sure that the victim doesn't have to face the person who did it, etc. Right? On the other hand, when they go to actually adjudicate the case, I think beyond a reasonable doubt is too tough a standard in that case.
Oh my God!
Fuck
Get
you!
out of here. You are out of your
Jesus
mind.
Christ.
What the fuck are you asking for?
Okay,
Jesus
so
Christ.
beyond a reasonable doubt is okay in a criminal case on rape, but on college campuses,
Jesus
it
Christ.
should also be about mafiols. No, fuck off. And as I said earlier, if colleges don't have the fucking resources to investigate this shit, just give it to the police. Hand that case over. Wait for the police through their thorough investigation. And guess what? They do thorough investigations. You can hate the police all they want in terms of like how they handle individual situations as they occur, but when it comes to investigations of a fucking crime, the evidence-based crime, wait for them to come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And then you can make your decision of, oh, should we expel this person? Should we do something against them? But otherwise, fuck off. You have just said, you yourselves on this panel, that colleges don't have the ability to properly vet or to properly address these cases. So no, sorry, Chank. It doesn't just get to be mafios. It has to be reals, motherfucker. Because the outcomes are reals.
Yeah.
People lose their livelihoods over this shit, you piece of fucking human garbage.
Although I don't agree that it's too tough a standard in the criminal context. I think it's the right standard, but we could disagree.
Right, but here he agrees.
Yes,
So what the fuck are you talking about? You're just saying colleges should be able to expel people to get rid of their
Ridiculous.
fucking scholarships because of a fucking claim.
And now, what's funny here is, see, this girl needs her job, because what she should do, according to her own ideology, is denounce Cenk as a misogynist and a rape apologist for disagreeing with her. But she wants that job, so she's going to put her ethics and all that she believes in aside, just to keep her position.
Agree about that. But in the college, but at the same time, I don't want the college to say, if there's any evidence at all, the guy's gone, right? No, you have to have some real standard,
Could you
that's the way
fucking
it
pick a
is.
position, motherfucker?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
And by the way, Cenk, that's the way it is right now. So if you're fucking pissed off about and you put this fucking Nazi-esque or implication of Nazism by using a fucking German word, and that's disgusting too.
Yeah.
They're just using a German
That's
word because you
outrageous.
know that's what the fuck they meant by that.
Of course.
If you're going to fucking imply that this is somehow horrible for her to be even assessing, redoing Title IX, yeah, pick a fucking side, you idiot. Because you can tell that he's trying. Well, first of all, he's here between these two bitches. Look at their smug faces on both.
Oh my god.
They're disgusted right now with what he said.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just basically said that, maybe not every man accused of rape is actually a rapist. And they're just repulsed.
Absolutely. That's
Because
against the rules.
But that is the fucking reality of these women.
Yeah.
The women who exist on these campuses who make these fucking laws, or these rules on campuses, is they think any man who is accused is automatically guilty.
Yep.
And there's the proof of their disgusted goddamn faces.
And maybe it's the same standard as a civil case.
Oh my god, they really are making the same face.
They are.
Because when you go to a criminal trial, you're taking somebody's freedom away. And
you're taking someone's freedom away when you expel them from a
Exactly.
university
What are you talking
over
about?
an allegation. Idiot. How does he have a law degree?
I don't know.
on a case like rape, then you're going to go on a sex offender list, etc. I mean, that is as serious as you can possibly get.
And it's very serious when that allegation is made at a college campus and you get expelled over it and your entire fucking life is ruined because everyone will be like, oh, hey, aren't you that guy?
You're the rapist.
You're the rapist.
Yeah. Now, removing somebody from college, ending their college career, is also super serious, but not to the same degree. And it's a different balancing act because you.
Well, that doesn't mean that you have these ridiculous. You don't
Right.
require proof. You fucking retard.
I mean, yeah, it is not as serious as being put on a sex offender list, but
Jesus.
it's fucking similar. It's really shitty. It's not the same, but it's also terrible. So it's like, oh yeah, I guess it's not as bad, so we might as well just allow it. Is that what you're saying, Cenk?
Incredible.
Fucking idiot.
Sexual assault victims, and we have the stats.
Why don't
No,
you
you don't.
share them?
Yeah, share. Good. But share your fucking stats, you fucking idiot. If you've got these, because you said in the beginning, they're somewhere. Oh, we don't have them.
The people that keep track of it, they said.
The people who keep track of the stats.
In the Washington Post.
I got a stats for you. Fuck off.
Overwhelming majority of people who accuse people of sexual assault, it actually happened. So, and you know that through the cases that have been adjudicated, etc. Right? So it's not an
I
easy.
feel like he uses words like adjudicated just to
Yeah.
sound a little bit more
Yeah,
intelligent when I
absolutely.
know that he's a fucking moron.
He's a fucking
easy
moron.
balancing act, but you don't balance it 50-50 because that's just not.
What? That's not even. Oh my god. He's lost. He's lost. He was sinking in the quicksand and was grabbing for anything, and he was like, oh wait, someone said 50-50, grab that. Well, it shouldn't be like 50-50, man, get the fuck. And you think you're gonna debate Ben Shapiro?
Oh shit, I'm so excited
Oh
for that
my
one.
God.
But here's the fucking thing. Her listening to both sides does not mean both are like, it's like there's as many false rape accusations as there are real accusations. Nobody has said that. It's called listening to both sides of an argument, you stupid fucking buffalo. Jesus Christ.
Give this appearance that they're treating the situation as 50-50, which I think we all agree is kind of unfair given the statistics.
No.
No one made that argument except them.
And we'll get back into it. Let's look at the 50-50. Let's look. This is now I will include a link to this blog post where this person actually a woman does go over the statistics, and I will also, we have all the numbers here as well. I will go as we get through this. But this is the thing that you normally see. This is more close to the truth. These are the numbers in the black here at the bottom of the people who are falsely accused. The jailed are in the red, the ones who faced trial, and it was dismissed for some reason, because if you faced trial and you weren't jailed, it means you weren't either you weren't guilty, or that there wasn't any evidence. Reported and didn't face trial means there was no fucking evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
It means there was nothing.
This is like when the the ADL counts hoax hate crimes as real hate crimes.
They do, right here. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Now, dang it. I did have an article up, though, about how Harvard basically includes things that were proven false along with their rape statistics.
It's insanity.
Because that's what they do. Because otherwise it upsets the narrative.
Ridiculous.
Why? And I have to ask this. If you truly want a better society, why would you want your rape statistics to be higher than they? Why would you intentionally inflate them?
The only reason I can point to is it's a commodified business now, and that rape culture must exist for the rape culture industry to thrive.
It's very disturbing. Because, I was a young woman, and this, and I think this is why women need to speak out about this, because it's very upsetting. I was a young woman on a college campus when I was 18. I never once was in a position where I thought rape was even a possibility. And now maybe that's because I'm a fucking huge nerd, and I didn't go to parties wearing fucking 2-inch long mini skirts that barely covered my, what's a good word for it? Special place. But I never did that shit, and I never got fucking toasted and went to these goddamn parties. So maybe that's it. I mean, I'm not blaming people on some level, but you know what? There is a level of personal responsibility. It's just like when I lived in lived in Baltimore City. When I lived in Baltimore City, I didn't go downtown and then flash 20s.
Yeah, right.
It's called having a little bit of common sense. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you deserve it or anything like that. It's called common sense.
Take precaution.
Take a little bit of personal responsibility. And it's my whole fucking issue with the left is that none of them are capable of personal responsibility. If you fuck up, and again, if you're raped, that is not at all your fault.
You don't deserve it.
No, you never deserve it. But don't do shit to put yourself in a situation where that might be a possibility. That's what I'm saying. Is that I know.
Oh no, I've heard people make that argument, and the leftists go, "Oh my God, how dare you! How dare you!"
Because other drunk people will take advantage of you. I don't even think they're aggressors. I don't even think they're violent or evil. They're just also drunk, and you're drunk.
Yeah.
And your panties are literally out. Your whole thing is exposed. So
your thing's out.
Your shit's out.
Behind the scenes, they don't even treat it as 50-50. DeVos's top civil rights chief, Candace Jackson, said Wednesday when she told the New York Times that, quote, 90% of accusations fall into the category of we were both drunk, we broke up, and 6 months later I found myself under a Title IX investigation because she just decided that our last sleeping together was not quite right.
Hey, that's correct though.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to say 90%.
No,
I don't have
90,
the statistics on that. I don't have the statistics on that. But yeah, I went to a traditional 4-year college, and yeah, and you know what? That girl, Vera Wang. She who raped my friend claimed she was raped after the fact. And that was why I originally brought that up.
Yeah.
Is because when he didn't want to date her after she raped him, she claimed she was raped. And do you know who got the most sympathy out of that entire ordeal?
She did, of course.
Oh, and him, the guy, he was so evil. Not only because he cheated on. Here's the thing: it was amazing. He cheated on his girlfriend. And he raped her, according to the way the school... Now, again, they're married, and that all worked out for them.
Oh.
But...
Wow.
Jesus Christ. She raped him, and then claimed he raped her, and who got the sin? Because women have kind of a fucking... This is the pussy pass. Mm-hmm. We have a get-out-of-jail-free card on this.
Yeah.
We really do. I don't know if it's 90%. There's no data to support the percentage on that. But I imagine it's a large amount. Shit, my dude.
Now, she later apologized for that statement.
I wouldn't have.
I mean, you apologize because you get criticism. You said something that you honestly believe.
Yeah, you're never going to apologize when you get criticism.
And that's a little troublesome, so.
Look, it's not like those cases don't exist. When I was going to school at Penn, we literally had one of those cases.
I'm actually astounded that Chang brought this up.
Yeah.
He gets like real here for a second. Like
Yeah.
he has to. Maybe he's breaking the
It's like
conditioning
the
a little
10% or 5% of the old Chank is
Yeah.
still slightly there and comes up from time
bit.
to time.
There's just like a little tiny chink in his
Yeah.
brain, like the old one
the
that's
old
still
one's
like.
come on, go back
Be
to the
honest
old
for a
days,
second.
please.
Where somebody said 6 months later, one of the nights in our relationship, I didn't want to have sex, but we had sex, and he didn't know it, but I'm going to call it rape now. Okay. Now, I don't know all the details, and that was a long, long time ago, and maybe she had a point. But from the outside, it looked like, whoa, 6 months later, and the guy didn't even know it. So it's not like those cases don't exist. But for her to say that 90% of the accusations fall into that category is unbelievable. But that's their mindset.
It's pretty true though. I'll bring this back up in terms of maybe she's not correct about the 90%. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, it would be, it's 85 in terms of these aren't provable.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it's all going to be, and these are general rape statistics, by the way, guys. These are not college rape statistics. These are general rape statistics. It's very possible, though, that a large majority of them, and that's why they don't get reported. For example, if you're wondering why a, quote, rape doesn't get reported, could it be because what you're considering rape is, oh, I regretted it the next day? Yeah, that's not really rape. You're considering it that because maybe 6 months later or a few days later, she considered it rape because, like, oh man, I can't believe I screwed that guy.
And the other thing is there are people pushing for that to be the standard, that it would be accepted.
Yep.
That, oh yeah, regret is rape, which is ludicrous.
I do think Lacey Green was one of those people who suggested that.
Oh, her videos are still up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, she absolutely. She has a video she did about a year ago on this. That was complete cancer. It's still on the channel. I don't know why. That's another subject for another day.
Yeah.
But no, it goes into the main crux of it was basically arguing that the percentage of false accusations is so low that it's just not even worth it almost. And
it is though, and the thing is that so this is the chart you typically see, the 2%. That's incorrect. Generally speaking, this is a government document which is from the convicted jury's exonerated by science case studies in use of DNA evidence to establish innocence after trial from an NearEDGE research report. There it is. Okay, so the exclusion rate for rape, 25%. Basically meaning that when they used DNA evidence, and this is the uppermost echelon of the amount of rape accusations that are proven incorrect. So 25% of rape accusations proven false, proven with DNA evidence false.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. I mean, at least for their fucking narrative, that this is the case, that it's 2%.
Ridiculous.
2% is the absolute lowest. The absolute lowest.
Yeah.
What you also need to take into account here. So, like, this is from this blog post that I pulled these data, but this is Harris County, Texas criminal court case statistics from 2012. So we go down here and we look at sexual assault of an adult. It's this line that we're looking at, and we are looking at the convictions. 326, and then the dismissals, 161. These are what we're talking about. Now, first of all, that's out of a total of 545. So that means there were 545 cases that were submitted to the court, and you're gonna say nobody gets fucking convicted of this shit? Yeah, no, 341. That's the majority. Excuse me. That's the majority of people who got convicted of this shit. The 161 dismissals does not mean innocence.
Right.
It means there was no evidence, which is actually this shit. This is the majority. This is why they get reported and face trial and don't get jailed. Even in this bullshit fucking warped, disturbed, fucked up graphic, even in this one, the reason they don't get jailed is because there was no fucking evidence. And I am sorry, ladies. If you have no evidence that you were raped, you can't just put somebody in jail over it. I know it sucks. If you really were raped and you held it in and you didn't want to talk to anybody, I know that's terrible.
Yeah.
But that's not how the court system works. You cannot put someone away over an allegation. You need proof. So if you have been raped, and I will say this every fucking time, ladies, if you have been raped, go to the police immediately. The problem is that if you had consensual sex and then thought later, oh gee, I can't believe I did that, you're never going to be able to prove it in a court of law. Never.
No.
And I'm sorry, that sucks for you, I guess. But it's because it wasn't really rape, was it? Nah, that was you regretting it. Mm-hmm. And that's fine.
Just
but,
not rape?
Not rape.
Not illegal.
Rape. And not illegal. That's you regretting it. This is more likely, and this is even, this graph is even considering that the women truly believe that it was rape, in terms of these sort of light pink rapists included. This is believing with a very a non-conservative estimate that I think it was like 60%? Yeah, this is the 60% estimate. This is still the way that this fucking shit looks. Mm-hmm. And this is including thinking you were raped. So including the whole, oh my god, I can't believe I slept with that guy. That's totally raped me. Yeah. It still looks like this. Look at the numbers of the falsely accused.
Yeah, and the whole, just this idea where they're categorize them as rapists. Well,
this is based off of this image.
No, I know, but that's some bullshit too. Alleged rapists.
No, these aren't even alleged. These are the ones not reported. These light pink ones, these are the not reported rapists, quote rapists, as someone would have perceived them.
Okay, non-reported rapists.
God, let's get this shit over.
Yeah.
Is there any... God damn it.
That's a lot of BS. These sexual assaults don't actually happen, which is super ironic, because apparently Candace Jackson's also a sexual assault survivor. But
no, it's actually very much not ironic, because she is a sexual assault survivor, and she knows how incredibly horrible it is to be actually sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine how terrible and absolutely disgusting it must be for an actual survivor of sexual assault to see motherfuckers like this sit around and virtue signal.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they have no fucking clue what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, if you were actually raped, if I had ever actually been raped, I would be I mean, I'm already disgusted. I would be super compound disgust.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Having gotten no empathy.
No. You're misunderstanding, Chank. I think she's got both empathy and sympathy for actual survivors. What she has no empathy for are people who are making shit up.
Exactly.
Just turns around to everyone else. It's like, yeah, it happened to me, but I don't believe that it happened to you. 90% of the time, I think.
No, because 90% of the time it did not happen to you. There is a the feminist rhetoric says if you fuck a guy and then you feel bad about it later, it's rape.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then you fucking wonder why the rape epidemic is increasing, when despite that fact, we've seen that over the last fucking... Look at this graph right here. This is 1997 to 2013. Look at the fucking decrease. We can see a definitive low-leaning slant on the data. It goes down. But by the way, if you want to talk about how this is so bad on college campuses, this right here are the data 95 to 2013. Non-students, far more incidents of rape than students.
Yep.
College campuses are pretty much the safest fucking place you can be in the fucking country as a woman, you goddamn morons. And in terms of the overall rate, completed rate, 2.0, excuse me, 2.0, attendance rate 1.5 among students, and much higher, again, among non-students. But you're still talking about super, super low numbers. Overall, what this is I think the number that I saw was about 15 out of 500, 1 out of 500, between that fucking rate on college students. These are extremely low. Now, I have an issue here with this non-student. They had a 90% confidence level. It's an alpha level of 0.10. That's not a good alpha. The other one, though, is an alpha level 0.15, or 0.05, which is an acceptable alpha. This is out of 1,000, so it means out of 1,000 fucking people, 2. It's very little. Well, not 2, but it's the rate of 2.
Right.
It's very, very low. So, and we see that this is, of course, these are not good statistics. You're not allowed to say these things because they don't support the 1 in 5 narrative. So if we have to go into the why the 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 narrative is bullshit, we can go into that now.
Sure.
The 1 in 4 narrative is bullshit for a number of reasons. First of all, it's the way in which the methodology was conducted. These were self-reported surveys. They were not based on criminal statistics. Now, part of the problem is if you are a woman who has been indoctrinated by feminist dogma and critical cultural theory to think that, wow, I fucked that guy 6 months ago, and now I feel bad about it. He probably raped me. Well, when you're asked on an anonymous survey, and I'm a major proponent of anonymous surveys, and I use them very frequently in my own research, but when you are talking about something like that in self-report, there's a definitive bias. Because there's no repercussion. There are no repercussions to saying, oh, I think maybe I was raped because, or I think maybe I was assaulted, because it isn't even, statistics don't even apply wholly to rape when you look at these in depth. And everyone has debunked them. But the problem is, it's that, yes, there's a cultural narrative that says that if you regretted fucking a guy, then it's rape. Okay, well then on a survey, I'll just say I was raped. Now the fucking issue is that as a result, you end up with the most insane statistics about how many women are raped, but it has nothing to do with the criminal statistics. And when we look at the criminal statistics from the FBI, we see forcible rape, 29.7 out of 100,000 per year. It's extremely fucking low.
Yeah. Okay?
It is not the 1 in 5. Now, this is general statistics. These are not college student statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the college student statistics, which are 2.0.
Yep.
Pretty similar, though, actually, in terms of the overall rate. But out of 1,000, this is 100,000. So when you adjust the decimal point, these are pretty much similar, the same statistics. Now, we do again see that there is a difference between students and non-students, but it could explain the difference right here in that when you account for the difference, when you account for the difference between students and non-students, students being 2.0 and non-students being 3.1, what do you end up with? Oh, I bet it's something like 29.7. Huh. It's like numbers make sense or something.
They should give these to Chank's people that keep track of this stuff.
I would say this before we end. My boy NearEDGE, who's a good friend of mine, who's a cool dude, and if you're not subscribed to him, please go ahead and subscribe. He is actually criminally undersubbed. He did a whole video on debunking the 1 in 4 myth. I'm going to just play a little bit about this to truly explain to you guys how fucked up this 1 in 4 narrative is. So let's watch this for a second.
Well, the point of this video is to compare the numbers to the real world. So for this next part, I'm going to ask you to join me on a trip to Africa, specifically the Democratic Republic of Congo. Since 1996, the country's northeast region has been in seemingly endless conflict. Millions of lives have been lost. Human rights violations aren't just common, they are systematically used by militant groups. Civilians are brutally slaughtered and even burned alive. Groups employ child soldiers, and more to the point of this video, sexual assault is utilized as a tactic of war. In 2010, the American Medical Association conducted a study on sexual assault in the Congo. This study used methods very similar to both the CSA and AAU studies, the only difference being that respondents were interviewed in person rather than through
The CSA and AAU studies, by the way, are the two studies from which the 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 statistics are derived.
online survey for obvious reasons. This study looked at the northeast region of the Congo, specifically Oriental, North Kivu, and South Kivu. With a response rate of 98.9%, they found that 39.7% of women will experience sexual assault in their lifetime. To put this into perspective, that's just 0.3% away from 2 in 5. These are unprecedented rates of sexual assault, and the ultimate reason why the Democratic Republic of Congo is known as the rape capital of the world.
I think Sweden is approaching real quick, though. But, yeah, interesting. That's the important thing. It's why I wanted to bring up this part of this video.
A 16-year-old boy who had been part of a militia for 2 years said, and I quote, "If we see girls, it's our right. We can violate them." It's been said that the Congo is the most dangerous place in the world to be a woman, and with figures like this, it's pretty much impossible to disagree with it. I mean, if 2 in 5 women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime? Wait a minute, that's barely under twice what the AAU estimated for college campuses. And on top of that, this is a lifetime estimate. The CSA and AAU estimates were only for 4 years. This can't possibly be true. Can't. Christ, Anita, fine. Okay, I'm jumping the gun here just a little bit. I mean, statistics are tricky. Before I make any more conclusions,
No, they're really not. They're actually really simple, which is why I like statistics. But it is difficult for people to understand some statistics. And I think that's why you get people like Cenk who absolutely cannot fucking, and Anna, who cannot fucking understand the statistics that they're working with.
let's break this down and compare them over the same period of time. So, just like before, we know our rate, 39.7, and we know that this applies to a woman's lifetime in the Congo. For this, let's use the average life expectancy for females in the Congo, which is 49.62 years. So, all we need to do is plug in both numbers, and the chance for a woman to be sexually assaulted in the Congo in a year comes out to 1.01%? Okay.
He does go into the numbers a little bit more, but I do want to make clear here, guys, that the numbers, I believe, that were for a year for a woman in the United States, based on those two studies, were about 5 to 7%. Which would mean that in a year, women in the United States, according to the studies that have the 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 statistics, would mean that women are 5 to 7 times more likely to be raped any single year in college campuses than they are to be raped in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the rape capital of the world. These statistics are bullshit. Mm-hmm. This rape statistic shit is fucked. And it's because, yeah, we just believe people based on their accusations.
Yeah.
Not on the burden of proof.
Fuck that.
I think we're pretty good, though.
Yeah, I think we're good. We destroyed this video.
Yep.
Fuck the Young Turks and their
Fuck
lies.
the Young Turks.
That's all I have to say.
Alright. Okay, thanks, guys. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Aiden Paladin, Altana Volt.
Bye.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more